All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here at the Doc Bookshop. We appreciate your presence. We are actually on 3 platforms right now. Of course, we got the in-studio audience.
Yay.
Shout out to our in-studio
Yay.
audience.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
And we also have our Facebook and our YouTube audience. I'm going to give them a minute to kind of chime in. And while they're doing that, I'm going to make sure I check my channels because I have done a whole live and
Not been on.
right.
Yeah.
So while they're gathering, I'm going to quickly check my channels, and I invite you all to also go to your social media, let people know that we're about to start a wonderful conversation with the one and only Ruby Faye Woolridge.
Thank you.
And I'm excited about our conversation. So we're just going to check and make sure our socials are on and working. Please add your folks to follow us on our Facebook page, Doc Bookshop Facebook page. And it's going. Oops. Okay. That's going. And Doc YouTube. Let me make sure that's on as well, because I've done live where my volume wasn't working, so I just take time to just make sure we're working here. And okay, great. We are on all of our channels, and everything looks great. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this wonderful conversation. I am so excited you're here.
I'm excited to be here.
I've been waiting for this moment. Okay. So thank you. Now we have a special guest who's going to introduce our author, Miss Ruby Faye Woolridge, and it's her son. And so go ahead and introduce yourself and introduce your mom.
Okay. Well, I'm Cornell Martin Woolridge.
And I'm gonna check our tips.
Okay. I'm son of Ruby Faye Woolridge, and I'm very proud to introduce my mother. This book is really about her life. She has been so many things to so many people. She has lived so many lives. Life of the oldest, raising 3 siblings. The trailblazer, helping to integrate a movie theater in high school. A mother at a young age. A trailblazer, helping to integrate schools as a teacher, an education leader. Then a political trailblazer, running for offices that Black people just never did before. She has been a counselor. She has been a mother. She has been a Army mom, a Gold Star mom, and one of the newest titles and lives that she lives is that of book writer. And that is why we're here today. And I'm so honored to introduce Ruby Faye Woolridge.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh,
Thank you.
that's a wonderful introduction.
Yes.
Your son is so
I
proud.
know. He's making me proud. I'm like, ooh. Oh, yeah. What?
Is that your one and only son? Or?
No, he's my youngest son.
Okay.
I had 2 sons, and my oldest died from his time with the Army, Operation Desert Storm. So that's my boss back there.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Well, you all, you heard the wonderful introduction from her son, and it was beautiful. Wonderful tribute. That was lovely. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
now he said a whole lot.
Yes, he did.
So I want you to kind of sum up what he said about Ruby Faye Woolridge. What do you want people to know specifically about you?
Wow, there's so much. And there's some things I need to censor.
Oh, this is uncensored. You can keep it real with me.
Okay.
You can keep it real.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I think that I want everybody to know is I feel like I was called to serve in whatever way I can. I was having a moment alone one day, and so the voice of God said to me, if not you, who? And if not now, when? And so I answered that call, and that call led me to working to integrate some schools. I integrated a junior high school in Muskogee, Oklahoma, my hometown, of about 40,000 folk. And that was quite an experience because I had an afro out to here and miniskirt up to here. And I was fearless and was not afraid to go against the administration and speak up for justice. I'm a former history teacher, and I taught government, and I believe in the power of government and the power of the people. And so you put that with my love to serve, which is what I'm called to do. I became what they call a diaconal minister in the United Methodist Church. Went to SMU, got that degree, and served 19 years as a senior associate pastor at Grace United Methodist Church in Arlington. So there's a lot. I taught, I counseled, I've been an administrator at a corporation run by Teledyne. A lot. Former Girl Scout.
Wonderful.
Girl Scouts rock.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you know what? Let's kind of delve into the book now.
Okay.
I mean, let's just start with this is the book, y'all. Bent but Unbroken.
Right.
And that says a whole lot.
It does.
The title says a whole lot.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. What kind of inspired you to write your book? How did you, tell us about your journey and just coming up with this book?
Well, my journey started because I refused to let circumstances overcome me. And I thought these three little words were as appropriate for the way I saw myself. I just refused to be overwhelmed by circumstances and situations. And so I ran in the first chapter of this book, and I don't mean to get ahead of myself, I ran into a powerful preacher, and I went looking for prayer and support, and I ended up needing prayer and support as a result of that on an Easter Sunday, on a Easter Sunday weekend, Good Friday. And so my love of the church started when I was 9. And so, for me to go in there and be, I guess, overwhelmed by a person who you revered because of their ministry and status, and they turned to be something other than that, it was pretty powerful. It was pretty powerful.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the first chapter in this book.
Oh, okay.
Preachers preying on parishioners.
Okay. That's the first chapter.
That's the first chapter. That's the first chapter in this book. Yes, that's the first.
Oh, Shattered Faith.
Shattered Faith. It's chapter 1. Chapter 1.
Okay.
And that really took a lot for me to continue to be a faithful person. Because I thought, where is God if you're allowing me, who's been faithful in service? Because I was a minister at the time. And I was thinking, wow, this is another powerful minister in my congregation, in my denomination, who's going to help me. And
take advantage.
It was predator time.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened.
Me too. Bent, but unbroken. He bent my heart, but he didn't break me. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ooh, okay. Well, you know what? I'm just going to share I'm just going to share her outline with you all. The first one was Shattered Faith. She kind of talked about that. And then Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus.
Yes. That's what got me through that experience. If I had not had a faith to live by, I could not have made it. Matter of fact, I think in this book I talk about when that happened, I turned back into a 9-year-old. That's how traumatizing that experience was, because I had been abused at 9 by my mother's boss. And so when the preacher did that, I just had a playback, and I was right back there. And so I went home and got into bed and curled up in a ball.
So I don't want to delve too much into it, but did you tell someone? Like,
I did.
Did you get there? Okay.
I did tell someone. Matter of fact, I was afraid because I'm like, nobody will believe me because it's just Ruby. And who am I to come against the powerful pastor of First Methodist Church in Fort Worth? How can I do that? So I kept it to myself. I shared with some of my very close friends and my family. And then, I'm getting ahead of myself, there was an article in the paper that affirmed what I had experienced, other women had experienced too.
Oh.
I was not alone. So that was very encouraging. And as a result of that, I found out I was the only minister who had been preyed upon by this pastor in this particular setting. And because of that, I was able to help get him out of the ministry, because I went before the official board of the United Methodist Church and told what happened and used the scriptures, and he was taken away from his position. So,
Amen.
God kept me.
Okay.
God kept me.
Oh, wonderful. Glad he's no longer serving. Okay, what about the wounded on the inside? Is that still a part of all that?
That is a part of, well, wounded on the inside. I think that I got so much going on in there. I believe that's when I was hurt by the response by some of the women. Some of the women in the community talked really ugly to me and said, "How dare you? He's a minister, he's on TV. We love him. How dare you say ugly things about him? How dare you go to court?" And by the way, here I'm giving away the book, we won our case. There were
Okay.
7 of us, and we won our case.
Well, amen.
So
Okay, that's-
justice was not denied. It might have been slowed up by the process, but it was not denied.
Amen. Okay, wonderful. Looking for daddy.
Oh, that's talked about me and my husband.
I thought it was like your father. Like, okay, you're looking
Yes.
for daddy.
I married I was 18, and my ex-husband, who is now passed on, was 20, and I married him at, I don't know what in the world I was doing. His mother had to sign for us to get married. But he was, as my son will tell you, he was 6'5", 240 pounds, and I figured, ooh, I'm my protector.
Oh, okay.
Because when you read the book, you'll know why I'm looking for my dad.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. Okay, and she goes, you got a lot going on here.
And I want to pitch this.
She got a lot going on.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Looking for a normal life, married but single.
Yes, all of that.
Married but single.
Married but single. Yeah, my child back there can talk about it because he lived through it. Yeah, for years. I'm gonna be honest. For a while, we were members of Grace United Methodist Church in Arlington, and some people that joined the church didn't know I had a husband. They just thought it was me and the 2 boys.
Oh, because it was never okay.
But here's what's interesting. He was a former preacher.
Okay. Well, we're gonna leave that one alone. Y'all.
That's deep, isn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna keep going on that one.
Okay.
Okay. So but then that left because the divorced woman because okay.
Yeah.
Being a martyr is no fun.
That's true. That's very true.
You felt you was a martyr?
I did. I felt like I was, like people expected me to be strong. And that's hard because you're living your life every day and you're dealing with a whole lot of things that you don't quite know how to handle. But people keep looking to you for being strong. And when you go for support, they think, well, you're strong. You can manage it. Even my family, my sisters and my brother thought, well, you're Faye. You can do it. And I was like, no, I'm struggling. And they wouldn't believe me. And so that was very, very hard to try to break through to your family and your friends that I need your help.
Yeah.
I am struggling with this.
Yeah. Oftentimes we're stuck with the strong black woman syndrome. We call that the strong black woman syndrome.
And
like
I was
you can handle it.
Yeah.
No.
Right. And as my son said earlier, I was the assistant mom in my household. I was the oldest, so I helped my mom raise my brother and 2 sisters. And so to this day, they keep.
Because you was the oldest?
I was the oldest.
Yeah.
And so my 2 sisters, especially my brother's still in conflict with me because he's in a power struggle. That's another story. But anyway, they still
Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm telling you, this stuff here. But you got to do it nowadays, you know?
Yeah, we need technology. We can't make it without it.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that.
Yes.
For some reason, the camera went out. Okay.
But we didn't.
Okay, we did. Miss Ruby, boy. I just love me some Miss Ruby. Okay, so, all right. Out of the old comes something new. Is it new me?
Yeah, I had ended up with it. But that's not what this chapter is about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what was new?
Well, the new is I learned how to embrace being a divorced woman.
Oh, okay.
At first, I was struggling with it because I had been so accustomed to running in this little crowd of couples. We did New Year's together. We did Christmas together. We did events in Dallas together. You know, we had kids the same, similar ages. So we just ran like a little pack.
Right.
And then I got kicked out of the pack because I got divorced. So they didn't want me around, and I couldn't understand it. And finally, one of them said, "Fool, don't you know they want you to mess with their husbands?" I'm like, "I ain't think about their husbands." And then they said, "Yeah, but they might be thinking about you." So there you go.
Oh.
I was kicked out of the pack.
You know, that happens to me before. You know, like actually, it was a very good friend when she got married.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm still single. But when she got married, it's like she don't talk to me. It's like the deuces for real.
Right, you disappeared.
So you got kicked out.
I got ghosted by my. I was ghosted before the word ghosted was.
Oh wow. Yeah, that hurts though.
It did, because I lost my friends, and I was like, "What am I going to do?" So out of the old comes the new. I started looking around to find people that were alone, and I had my first Thanksgiving inviting people that were not family because I was working to establish something new, a new order for me in my life, because I love to have folks around, and I love celebration, and I especially love holidays.
Mm.
I'm a big holiday person. I used to have Christmas decorations in my bathroom. That's another story. I got lots of stories. Tiffany can tell you
lots
that.
of stories.
Yeah,
you can see here.
I got lots
and
of
that's
stuff.
when your life turned upside down. That's chapter 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to make adjustments for life.
Right.
What kind of adjustments did you make for life?
Well, what I started doing, making adjustments for life, is when I started running for school board. And my son in the back, I hate to keep leaning on him, but he was the evidence for me running for my first political office. He was going to Butler Elementary in Arlington, which was a very good school.
Mm-hmm.
And they just didn't quite get the fact that we had students in there and everybody didn't look the same. And so they were treating everybody like the majority population. I said, "What you going to do for my kid and these other kids that look like them?" They feel alienated. They're not being heard. They didn't have Black History Month. They didn't have anything that was not the majority culture. So I went to the principal and I said, "Well, are you going to increase the staff to make it look more like your population?" And she said, "Why are you bringing that to me?" And so I was like, "Because I'm a parent." And so then she got an attitude. So I took my little purse and went on downtown to the school board and asked the same question. They asked me, like, "Who do you think you are coming in here asking us question?" And I was like, "Wait a minute." And the thing that got me is there was no reason in their minds that they needed to change and be more culturally sensitive to the needs of the children. Mm. And when we brought it to their attention, they got ticked off that we raised the issue. And the only person of color in my son's school was a custodian for years. And we're like, "Is that what you're teaching? That's what we can do?" Because our children learn by what they see. Mm-hmm. And so we broke through, but I was called Ruby the Rabble Rouser from that point on in Arlington schools. But I wear, oh, hello, Vanessa. I wear that with pride because it gave me a new voice, because I didn't have my voice until then.
So was political activism, was that a part of your family? Like, what did you see?
My mom worked for the VA. And because she couldn't, because of the Hatch Act, she couldn't be actively participating in elections and political stuff. Okay. So guess who was her surrogate? Me. When I was 13, she ran me out there to help out with the congressmen that were running. She had me stuffing envelopes for local. That's the start of your That was the start. Okay. But I laid that on the table because I was busy living. Mm-hmm. And then it came back alive when I was at Cornell School, and they were just kind of ignoring our children. I mean, and when I called up there about a concern, they were just ignoring me. Like, they wouldn't even call me back. You know, my feelings were hurt. I wasn't hurt.
Right, but we know you made yourself heard.
They made me. They made me do it. I didn't really want to, but they made me.
Okay, let's talk about your new romance.
Oh, wow. Well, y'all remember Blockbusters? I was getting a video in Blockbuster one Friday night.
No, for those younger, they may not know about Blockbuster.
Right. That's why I asked if y'all know Blockbuster.
I mean, did
Okay.
they go out of business like
They've gone out
20
of
years
business.
ago? Like,
They've gone out of business. But I met a man in Blockbuster who was chasing me around the thing, and I was ignoring it because I was like, who is this man? Why is he bugging? And so he wouldn't stop until he asked me for my number, and I says, I don't give my number, but if you give me yours, I'll take it. So that started the
Okay.
relationship. I wouldn't let him call me, but I called him.
so you had a man in Blockbuster.
At Blockbuster, at the video store, and he was 10 years younger than me.
Uh-oh. They have a name for that.
I was a cougar.
They have a name for that, okay?
Yes, I was a cougar.
Ooh,
I
okay.
raised my
Yes.
hand, but I didn't know I was a cougar until I found out he was 10 years younger.
That's funny.
Yes, but it was fun.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's talk about the power of life and death.
Oh, wow. Well, the power of life and death.
What's
Well,
happening in this chapter?
that in that chapter, that I'm talking about losing my grandson. My oldest son and his wife had 2 children, and the oldest one, Jordan, died of crib death at 2 months old, and that was really a big hurt for me because I wanted to go see him. He was born in, I believe, March, and I procrastinated, saying, "Oh, I'll wait until summer," because I was working at the school district. I'll wait till summer and I'll go. Well, he died in May before I got there, so that was hard.
Yeah, that's hard.
That was hard.
Losing a baby is hard.
Losing a baby is hard. Planning the funeral was even harder.
Yeah.
So if y'all don't have to do that, be thankful.
Be thankful. Yes, I went to one and just see a casket
Yeah.
that small is just,
I mean, the casket was smaller than this table
yeah.
because he was
It's
2 months.
heartbreaking.
Yeah, 2 months old.
And your faith was tested again?
Yes, my faith was tested again.
How was it tested?
Well, I had to leave my church, and that hurt me. I didn't want to because it was like a divorce. There's a time when you've grown past something or somebody and you don't want to admit it. And so
Yeah.
I knew that it was time for me to take leave because I was like a voice crying in the wilderness and the people at the church could not hear me. And so I thought, what am I doing? What is this all about?
How long were you there?
Oh my goodness. I was there from 1984 until 2005. It's a long time. And I started out as a choir member singing tenor. Yes, tenor. I didn't sing alto, I sang tenor. And I moved from that to ministry. And that my faith was tested and I had to move on. And that was a breaking that was one of the hardest things in my whole life, to leave my church and go somewhere else. But I convinced myself that, I'm just going to take a leave of absence. And I never went back. So I had to
So did you lose a lot of friendships? And
No, some of them I still have friends now that are still there. I didn't, because they understood. They knew I was doing all I could do.
Right.
So, yeah.
Sometimes you have to make a change.
There you go.
And going forward, that's your next chapter.
Going forward,
Where did you go
yes.
forward to?
Well, going forward is when I started running for office.
Okay.
And it was more because I did the school board thing and then I stopped because I had to live and do other things and make choices in life. And going forward, I decided it was time for our voices to be heard in government. And so I ran for, I think my first thing was district clerk in Tarrant County because we'd never had a person of color to do that. So I thought, well, let me go see what we could do because I know who's going to court. It's us. Am I telling the tale?
Right.
Okay. We're the ones in court, and I thought that I could be there and I could make
Make a
sure that they got justice and the courts were properly adjudicated. And so I decided to run for that, and I did not win. And I didn't quit. I just, when I didn't win, I just kept on thinking, well, I could win the next one. I don't know how many I ran and didn't win until 2020. And that's the last chapter of the book. You got to read 2020.
Okay.
And that's
So a couple people asked me, so are you still in politics, or what are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm just trying to do the next best thing in my life, which is getting people to buy this book.
Okay, so now you're just being an author.
I'm being an author, and I had a conversation with my son the other day, and I said, there's a lot that I left out of this book because he and I went through some trials and tribulations it was so personal for me. I wanted to put it in the book, but it was too hard. It was like a tearing, so I couldn't put it in. But I want to do a volume 2 where I put in the things that were too hard for me to put in here, because this is kind of like walking through the tracks of my life, pretty much. And it's a quick read, but it is very personal, and it is, for me, it's overcoming stuff. It's not breaking under the pressure. I refuse to break under the pressure. And that's what brought this on. And also, I would write a chapter and I'd wait a year, because the writing, especially chapter 1, I would cry, I would overeat, I would be depressed. Writing made me have to relive it. So I would have to write and stop. So it took me several years just to churn out this little writing.
Wow.
It did, because it's personal. And I'm opening up to myself to be vulnerable. And my family knows being vulnerable is not one of my strengths. I mean,
keeping it real.
Keeping it real, because I grew up in a family that was, you just don't tell everybody all your business. And so I thought being vulnerable meant telling all your business. So I was going by my family code, which is, we can have all this stuff in the house, but you just have on a good face and just do right when you go out into that public. You just don't tell everything.
Right.
So I had to learn that vulnerability is okay.
It's okay.
It's
actually kind of healthy.
It's healthy now, but it's hard to break decades of programming.
Right.
And I was programmed to be a sister mom, to be the strong woman, to be a good mother, educator, all these good things. And life wasn't always, given that. That's why I wrote Bent But Unbroken.
Bent But Unbroken.
Right.
Okay.
And I want to share this. This little flower on the front was a gift to me by one of the art teachers from Dunbar 6th grade. And her name is Helen Wilt. And I told her the story about what I was writing about, and she drew this. And I have saved the original artwork, and I framed it because it meant so much to me. Because this flower is very fragile, isn't it? But it didn't break. It bent, but it didn't break. And some of my friends wanted me to use a tree, but trees are rooted so deeply that they will not necessarily bend like this flower. But this little flower is very fragile, and it bends. But the best part of it is it's showing its color. You notice that? The best part of it is showing right out there to your face. So I want to thank Carol Wilt. She lives in Arlington, Texas, and she's a retired art teacher now.
Okay, so wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so this kind of sums up your life story, Bent But Unbroken. Does anyone have any questions for Faye? Are there any questions for Ruby Faye?
I have an addendum.
You got more? What?
No. I have an addendum to our conversation. There's a lady by the name of Brittany Smith that helped me to come up with the phrase. And it says, I went from a rejected child, because my dad did not want me at first. And then I became an elected leader. So I went from rejected to elected.
Rejected to elected. Oh, I like that.
That
would be an awesome title too. Rejected to elected.
Rejected to elected. Maybe that'll be the second book. Remember, I told you I have lots to write about.
I like that title.
Rejected but elected. That's me. And Kenneth, Kenneth was in my journey. Raise your hand, Judge Kenneth Sanders, sir. Okay. Yeah, okay. He was part of my. He knows the backstories. Don't tell anybody.
Now, on your political journeys, how would you give us some examples of you being bent but unbroken on your or some of your political? You know, you ran for how many offices?
I can't count them anymore. I stopped counting.
I mean,
I did.
no, seriously, it was the city
ran for city
council, of course, school board. We did
Right,
school board.
I did school board.
City-
And by the way, I want to say that I broke the color barrier running for school board. Nobody of color ever ran for that in Arlington.
Oh wow, we got an actual living legend
I don't know about
here
that.
at the Doc Bookshop.
Yeah.
That's
That had never happened, but I was so frustrated with that school that I was willing to break the barrier. And I didn't have any money, and y'all, I got to tell you, I have so many stories. We didn't have any money. It was me and James Anton, the math teacher at Arlington High School, and Larry Shaw, who was president of the teachers union. And they wanted me to run because I had been sharing with them my frustrations, because here I am, an educator, and I couldn't get help in education in Arlington. But anyway, we didn't have the money, so we used yellow doors and painted red letters over. Those are my signs. Can you imagine doors now? You know how beautiful everybody's signs are? I had doors like the front door of your, like a door like this.
Really?
Painted yellow. They found doors for $1 a piece. And Larry and James bought the doors, and they bought me 100 doors, and they painted them with little, you go get those great big old things that you can go around.
Like stencils? Stencils.
Stencils.
To write your name.
They stenciled my name in red paint because my name was Ruby.
Right.
On back, front, and back, and they got some nails and a little thing and stuck it in the ground, and those things never did fall.
You know what? You had some sturdy signs, though. I mean,
It takes $1 a door. I mean, what can I say?
interesting.
It's very interesting.
Okay.
And I still have friendships from that first campaign.
Wonderful.
And that was in 19. I can't
Did you win
remember.
that one?
No, I won. Let me say this. I won. This is what's interesting in that. There's going
And
to
I'm glad you never gave up.
Well,
Because I probably would have.
well, I won that. I won that election.
I'm doing all that work,
Right, I did, but
going here, going
yeah.
there, spending.
and then still raising my family.
Yeah.
But I won. I didn't win the election, but I ran again the next year. And the fathers, the leaders of the town said that rebel rouser has to be stopped. So they went and found another person of color to run against me. And they backed him with money. I still had those doors. And they had all these pretty signs, all this money. And so I ended up getting the most votes. And they said, aha, you got the most votes, but you didn't get 50% because there was 3 of us in the race. So they had in the history of Arlington schools, there's only been one runoff for school board, and that was a year. After they did that just to make sure that I didn't win, because they knew everybody thought I won because I had the most votes, and nobody came back for the runoff. So I lost. And I'd run out of money. All we had was those doors of my sweet little volunteers. And
Oh.
it's a lot. It's a lot. The tracks of my tears.
Yes. So the question remains: are you still going to do politics again in the future?
I'm going to help people.
So you're not running anywhere. You're going to help people.
I'm going to help people unless the clouds open up and God calls me. I'm going to.
Unless Jesus comes
Unless
himself.
Jesus comes himself and gives me a directive, I'm going to be helpful to people.
Okay.
Okay, because somebody asked me that the other day, because I'm also passionate about air quality, and so I want to kind of work on that. I'm really concerned.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot-
environment is a big one.
Well, it is, and I'm concerned locally about it. I can't do anything about the global, but I'm concerned about the local. Oh, there's Joyce. Hi, Joyce. She's from my hometown. Wave your hand, Joyce.
Where's
Okay.
Joyce? Oh,
Right in
there
the
she.
back.
Okay. What's your hometown?
Tell her, Joyce. Muskogee, Oklahoma.
Muskogee. Okay.
Yes, Joyce lives over in Kennydale.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is what?
she said we're from the best high school in the world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, manual training high school. We were both in the college prep track. They had 2 tracks, college prep and vocational. And we were in the college prep.
Okay.
So we think we all that, don't we, Joyce?
Was y'all school integrated? Or was it more like an Iron Tarot type?
Our school was like an I am Terrell. It was all black until 1970, and then they integrated.
And then okay.
Yeah. But now, here's what I want to say about my hometown. They integrated the schools in 1954, and I graduated in 1966, and I still was in an integrated, and I was in a segregated school, and that was by choice. our parents did not want us to leave our communities. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm
The
grateful.
busing.
I didn't want to be bused, okay?
Mhm.
I didn't, and I'm thankful that I never ever had to be bused anywhere. I always walked to school. I don't even to high school. I walked from my house to the school. I never was on a bus unless I was on a trip with the band.
Interesting.
So it made a real big difference for us. It gave us a great spirit of community.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, our time is up. We did our hour. So real quick. Any other questions before?
There's
Okay.
another question.
Yeah, I didn't catch the very beginning, but I did catch key things about you was discussing about the points in your life from child, young lady, and you know, I'm pretty sure you know by now. This has just been an ongoing thing. Well, we gonna talk about black women, the young little girls, young ladies with all this abuse, the rape, and
Right.
all of that. Basically my question is this: have you or thought of, or besides, like you write that book,
Right.
that is your voice,
Right.
but there's so many girls and young ladies that still, right to this day, go through the same thing. Like, it's ridiculous. It goes on.
Yeah.
And everybody likes, like what you said.
Right.
And these type of things. It's funny because it was a book that you had up there. I told mother, I don't never want to read that book again.
Okay.
But it need to be read. It's called Incidents of a Life of a Slave Girl.
Okay.
Mhm.
Same difference.
Same thing. And it's
just the color of skin of the perp is different.
okay. Well,
But the
Yeah.
mindset is still
Right.
the same.
right. Well, predators are predators, and they don't care
Right.
who they are.
But my
Okay.
question is, have you thought of maybe, writing a book, but also just, other things like, go to different places and tell your story, because
You talking about like mentoring?
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
directly or indirectly, just like you're doing this with the thing,
Hmm.
and you can travel, because more women need to speak up about being raped and abused. That's
Right.
the whole point I'm getting at. It's too
Well-
much.
Okay.
It's too much of a whisper, and it need to be a holler.
Well,
You need
I
to
want to
speak up
thank
too.
you. I want to thank you for bringing that up because I have spoken with some of my mentors, and we talked about me connecting with churches and different community groups so that I can be a resource for this situation. So that's in the works. That's what we're planning to do next. And as a counselor, I was able to lead groups where girls had been abused, and I was able to look back on my life and share with them that just because that happened to you is not who you are. And I'm saying I'm here, but I didn't let what happened back in my childhood or even as an adult stop me from being the best me I can be. So the goal is to be able to mentor and share with young ladies of all colors and cultures that are experiencing this, because it is multicultural. Okay,
Mhm.
it really is.
Mhm.
It's just that.
And don't let it define you.
I know.
Last on the list,
Yeah, we're last on the list.
on our own list.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Any other questions? Okay. Well, we're going to wrap it up. So, can you just let people know where they can find you? How do they get in contact with Ruby Faye?
Well, just go to rubyfayewoolridge@gmail.com, or I'm the one who will put my phone number out there.
That's old school right there.
That's old school.
Oh, your son said, no, you will not.
I will not put my phone
Your
number
email
out.
is good. He's like, no, ma'am. Okay. But we got to get you a website.
Well, I do have a website.
Okay, she got a
I
website.
have a website for this book.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe I just need to get a Ruby Faye Woolridge website, but I do have Ruby Faye Woolridge on Yahoo. On Yahoo and Facebook.
And she's on Facebook.
Yeah,
That's
I'm on
a
Facebook.
great way to reach out.
And
to
I've got 3
Miss-
Facebooks. Okay.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Why do you have 3?
Don't ask me why I have 3. It's a long story. It's another book.
Oh, Lord. Okay, you got hacked.
I got hacked.
I got hacked. Dr. Renee got hacked.
Yes,
It's horrible. But
It's horrible. So you start giving yourself new passwords, new Facebooks, and start all over. It gets ugly. Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but definitely reach out to her. But make sure you make your way to the Doc Bookshop, okay, and
Yes.
get this book, Bent but unbroken. This is a
Yes.
wonderful story about Ruby Faye Woolridge. She has so much to share. I mean, just I like how she summed it up, being rejected to being elected. You know,
Yep.
I love that. So, but this book here, we're excited about this book, and so we want you to make sure you have it in your household. So stop by the Doc Bookshop. You can also go to our website, thedocbookshop.com, and pick up your copy, or we can ship you a copy of the book, because we got some folk I know who are not local.
Right.
So we can ship you the copy of the book. So, but make sure you get it. And actually, we're gonna have Miss Ruby sign some books.
I've already signed some. I'll be glad to sign every book of every person that buys one from me. Okay,
Yes,
I'll be
yes.
happy to. So I got my trusty ink, my
You-
favorite pen, right
Okay, that's your favorite pen.
here. My favorite pen. I got. Wait a minute, and I'll tell you why it's my favorite.
Okay.
Because I got it from the MLK celebration
Okay, which one?
in
Which one?
Arlington
Okay,
Yes.
recently.
recently. Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm on that committee, and
On January the 17th.
yes,
25.
yes, this
Okay.
my cousins over here telling you.
Okay.
But I'll be happy to sign
Okay.
this book.
All right. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for coming out, and we appreciate you. Definitely stop by the Doc Bookshop if you're ever in the Fort Worth area. Okay, thanks.
Oh, and before you go, this is a 5-star rated book on Amazon.com.
And yes, and it's gonna be a bestseller here at the Doc Bookshop.
And it's gonna be a bestseller right here
Yes.
at 6637 Meadowbrook Drive, right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all.